Awesome. And thanks. I don't know if I said this, but thanks for the time, by the way, because I know
Yeah,
it.
of course.
What time
Yeah.
is it over in LA? Like 6 p.m.
Yeah, about six. Yeah, about six.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I mean, excited for the chat. Thanks for the time.
Yeah. Likewise.
And just for like sort of like to get the conversation started, can you give us like a brief, you don't have to get super in depth into like the story and everything, but brief background, 30, 60-second intro on you, the brand, how it started, just so people can have more context.
Yeah, so basically, I'll just okay, yeah, I'll just kind of spitball here and you can kind of edit whatever you want to take out of it or put in. ANGELtype is just my personal creative project for clothing and like clothing accessories, fashion, etc. It's heavily inspired by I guess like more of the higher end brands, obviously, like Acne Studios and Rigowens and Yoji Yamamoto and all the really big names. But ours is definitely more of a more personal connection with the audience because we're more of a social media brand, unfortunately, as much as we'd love to be like a real
For now.
yeah, brick and mortar, but for now it's great. We're able to connect with customers, we're able to ship out orders quick, and we're able to give people what they want. And our prices aren't crazy, like our prices aren't crazy. So it's just a real personal project for me. And I just love sharing and getting people in new clothing for new ways to express themselves.
Cool. And like, how did everything actually get started? You just wanted to find like a way to express yourself, or there was something that was not like a personal need that was not being met with like traditional fashion brands? Was it just literally like a high school art project that evolved into a brand of some sorts, or what was the initial?
The initial was so I was graphic designing. I picked up graphic designing in 2015, late 2015, and I was really interested in a very niche community of people that were making like really niche stickers and just like graphic design stickers. And a lot of people were selling either on their private stores or on Instagram or on Etsy or stuff like that. And I was really interested in that movement of people that were just expressing themselves with stickers. So I that was a much easier entry point versus clothing for me because stickers cost like $1 per or 50 cents per or whatever what have you, but clothing is obviously a lot more expensive for minimums and the cost per garment, etc. So stickers were a great entry point, and it was a great way for me to introduce my graphic design skills to audiences and build my business platform and stuff like that before I really kind of dived into saying, let's make clothing. Let's do more clothing, because clothing, there's only so much you can do with stickers. Stickers can be put on your car, on your laptop, or on a bus sign or whatever, but you can wear clothes and you can express yourself. And I feel like one of the best ways to market and to spread business is word of mouth, obviously. And when someone walks up to you and says, "Hey, I love your T-shirt. Where did you get it?" It's just like it's a great feeling for the consumer, and it works out so great for the person that's making the content too, making the clothing.
Understood. Yeah, so it was kind of like very limiting from a creative perspective, and from an
Yeah.
expensive perspective, from a functional perspective, but from a business perspective, it was just made a lot more sense to get everything off the ground. Okay, and what made you what event happened that made you transition into fashion specifically? Was it you became more confident with how the process worked? Was it you finally decided to take a risk and start doing something, or you learned something? Like, was there anything specific?
I think general media and like musicians and like pop culture were what really kind of got me into fashion originally. Like I was buying pieces of Chrome Hearts and Vivian Westwood and did Capital and shit like that and just small stuff here and there, but I could only afford secondhand. So I'd get these secondhand pieces and I was like, damn, like I would love to be on this level, like I would love to be making shit on this level. And it's hard, but when you get those pieces, you feel so such a type of way. You feel like you bought something, especially when it comes from these avant-garde designers, you feel like you bought something that has value, even if it even if it costs not a ton to make, but they price it super high, or the resale price is super high, or whatever, you feel like you feel like you have value in the product that you bought, not something that's going to go into a landfill, because no matter what, somebody else out there wants it other than you, even if you get tired of it, which is the nice thing about like kind of this clothing culture and whatnot, is the resaleability. So I guess yeah, just in short, yeah, I got inspired by like pop culture, and then I kind of started to get my own kind of clothing pieces from these brands, and then I was like, I'm making stuff that expresses yourself, and I'm buying these nice clothes that express yourself. I want to give that chance to other people through my own lens.
Okay. And how did that look like from at a practical level? Like you literally started sewing, like buying pieces and modifying them on your house in your room, or you started like reaching out to producers or getting
Yeah, a little
things
bit of
for.
both. So I would go to Blick art stores, and I'd pick up a couple screens and some ink, and like a flash floodlight and all that shit, and I'd make the screens at my house using like just a regular printer with clear transfer paper that you can just buy at Blick. I mean, you can get all the supplies to screen print your own t-shirts for like under $200, and you can just take t-shirts that are in your own closet, screen print your own design on them, and it makes them that much more special, especially if it's just like a black t-shirt or something. You can wear it more often because you're even expressing yourself even more, and if someone asks about that, you can say I made it myself, which is a great feeling. So I started there, and then I was also reaching out at the same time to local screen printing shops, and just hitting them up and seeing what kind of prices that they could do on like LA apparel, and like some of the higher end blanks and whatnot and stuff like that.
Cool. And this was in 2021, 2020-ish.
It would have been 2020, 2021. Yeah.
Right, cool. And w- what happened from you making blanks to, oh shit, this is actually a brand or a product that I can sell? Like, was it you just posted on social media and started getting like crazy organic traction, or was there a specific event that?
So I would go on Grailed, and I feel like this is a great tip for young designers. I would go on Grailed, and I would search the products by most expensive, right? So descending order from most expensive to lowest, and I'd see what products are really popping on Grailed in certain categories. Like if I was interested in, say, like a Yoji piece, I'd go to Yoji, and then search and see what the most expensive shit that they sell for Yoji is, and I'd kind of just like, I'd go through there, and I'd kind of look and skim through and try to see like what pieces were really like kind of in my same vision. And then if I could find something that's like a really good example of this, is finding like a pair of denim, like a good mock-up, a good flat lay of a pair of denim, and just modifying it from there. So you can take a nice Acne Studios like flat lay, and you can go ahead and you can graphic design your own stuff over that, and you can kind of just recreate, and you can take measurements from your own pairs of pants that you already own that fit you good, and you can send them off to like these suppliers, and you can get them to make you samples for not too expensive, which is awesome. And it's a great way to take what really means something to you, like these clothes and these little things, these inspirations and stuff like that, and then to be able to repurpose them and remarket them to different people. And
Interesting.
what's sorry, another
Yeah, go ahead.
other side thought too is that one great thing about like kind of referencing different designers in your early starting of making fashion is that there's already an audience for the items that you're kind of referencing, right? So like if someone really likes,
Yeah, they're validated already.
yeah, they're validated already. The product has already been proven. So it's like if you can, for clothes, it's definitely a lot harder than something that's more intricate. But I feel like the product's already been proven, so you can kind of just take that and make it your own.
Yeah, and if you're looking at a lot of pieces, you can start seeing
Yeah,
consistency with designs that are proven
exactly.
or that are validated, and products that are consistent with your vision. And based on those two variables, you can kind of like start creating your own thing, or at least the foundations of your own thing, as you said,
Yeah,
the most practical, accessible way possible.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, and what about the production? So let's say you go through the process, start getting a good idea, you get a couple of examples that you can essentially copy from a measurement straight perspective, like again, the foundational stuff.
Yeah.
And from a production perspective, it's you reach out to local manufacturers. Was it more international?
It was
Like
more
how did
international.
you get from, having an idea of what you wanted to create to having it, at your house with 50 items? How did those
Yeah,
negotiations go?
so a lot of it's international. For screen printing stuff, I'd say for early designers, if you wanna try to get your foot in the door, screen printing is easily gonna be the best method. I guess actually drop shipping with DTG would probably be the best method for a real entry level person. You know, get a free big cartel and make a free shop. But for someone that's trying to do more cut and sew pieces, you really have to go out there and look at those pages on Instagram that show you all these different manufacturers and where to look for that kind of stuff. For me, it was just kind of going online and searching up like French Terry 600 GSM hoodie supplier, you know, and then I'd hit up like three or four, and if the conversation kind of fell flat or if they wanted like a crazy MOQ, I'd kind of just ghost them, you know, because it's just not going to work out for either of us. So it's not whatever. So, but yeah, I think for me it was is contacting international people, mainly in like we had a couple of different suppliers. In various parts of Asia. Asia's been good, and South America's been also very good. But we've done, yeah, mainly South America, Asia, and the United States for production. Um, I feel like the product conversion of what you actually want to make to what you're sending the supplier is a little bit easier for continental conversations, especially like South America to US. But once it starts getting over to like China and stuff like that, you will have times where you order a sample and it just doesn't come out how you wanted it to, no matter how much work you put in, and it's going to cost the same as it costs to produce sample number one as it does to produce sample number two. There's no real discount. So if you want to produce sample number two, you really just got to take what you got the first time and try to reanalyze it a little bit and redo the measurements or redo the graphic placement or change the stitching or change the fitting or anything. But yeah, for me it was just going through these international suppliers and just trial and error with different samples from stuff that I graphic designed.
Interesting. And before you got to this point, were you already making like sales, or was
Yeah,
this like,
yeah. I was doing
okay,
sales with the screen printed t-shirts. So
wow,
I already had like a flow of income just on stuff from that, and then I was able to take the excess income and
yeah,
put that
start building like
towards
the
like
production
samples of cut
infrastructure.
and stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Interesting. Wow. And how are you marketing the t-shirts? Like just by posting it on social media and
Uh,
getting growth?
yeah, social media. A lot of our main growth has obviously been through Instagram. We've done a little bit of stuff on TikTok, and not really into Facebook. I'm a little bit on Twitter, but it's mainly been Instagram for us. And Instagram is ad. We run a lot of ads through Instagram. I'd say for a new entrepreneur trying to start their own clothing business, you probably want to run an ad for as long as you can, like 30 days or something like that, and set a budget of like one to 300 bucks. And if you can just imagine that, okay, I spend 300 bucks, that's $10 a day for 30 days. If even one person buys my shirt a day, and there's a $20 profit margin on the shirt, I'm making $10 a day, even though I'm spending all this money on ads. So for me, I've kind of maximized that. So I spend quite a bit more on ads. Sometimes I'll spend 30, 50, $100 a day and run ads for either a short period of time or a long period of time, depending on if we have like an upcoming drop or if we have inventory just sitting or stuff like that. But definitely just running some simple ads on your already proven Instagram posts that have gotten an okay amount of likes from your pre-existing follower base, and kind of just going from there, you know. Just I think Instagram is a great place for that. I recently read that hashtags apparently don't do anything. They help with search optimization in the app, but they don't actually help with reach. So it's really about, you know, trying to reach that audience. And if you can just pay to reach that audience, it's the way to go, you know.
Hmm. Interesting. So
Because
it
there's
was
people
mostly
out
through
there.
advertising.
What's up?
So it was mostly through advertising in terms of reach.
Yeah, we got a lot of I mean, we had a couple items that really popped off and got a lot of like we got like, you know, thousands, tens of thousands of likes and stuff like that, just because people would just organically share it to their stories and stuff like that. Or they'd say, I
Hmm.
need this, or you know, they'd comment or they'd like or share it. And it just gets that organic kind of marketing. But then yeah, also just running ads and stuff like that really does help. I'd say that it really does help.
Interesting. And looking at today's landscape, like social media landscape, do you think you'll be able to replicate it today in the exact same like circumstance?
If I tried to do it again,
Yeah.
yeah, I think so. If you have the right vision and you have the right, like, if you're just, it really just depends on what you're trying to make, you know? And I feel like there's a lot of simple stuff out there and there's a lot of really extravagant stuff out there. And finding that place in the middle where someone can wear it but still make a statement is always going to sell for sure. So
Interesting. And what were the price points? Do you remember for the t-shirts?
for t-shirts, making like drop shipping or like through
Yeah, yeah.
screen print or so.
For how you got started, yeah, the screen printing.
Screen printing, I think a t-shirt would be about probably like $9 to $10 for the t-shirt and about $6, $7 for the screen printing through a shop.
So around 20,
So
$30. And how much did you sell them for? What was the
I,
retail price?
it was actually about like $16 to $22, and I was
Uh,
selling for 35 to 40. So my
Hmm.
margins were amazing in the beginning, but they were selling shirts, you know, we were just getting the word out there.
Right. Wow, that's really interesting. Okay, and what was the biggest challenge at that stage for you? Was it mostly to do with production, with marketing, with creative
I
vision and development, communications?
Yeah, I think it's mainly just creative vision and having the know-how of how to run a business, because you only learn things through doing it, you know, really, unless school, which I didn't go. I went to school for computer systems. So I was really just studying like coding and programming and stuff like that. And when I graduated, I was already running this brand and I just decided just to go. If I decided if I couldn't make more than I was projected to make with my degree in that first year, then I would just go and do my degree as my career. But if I was able to beat that and surpass it, then I would just continue this path of making clothes. And that's kind of how it went out to be. So, um, sorry, yeah, I kind of got sidetracked there, but
No, not at all. Interesting. And what would you say is the biggest difference from the circumstances that we're talking about right now to where the brand is today? What has changed from a creative
I
and
think
also from a business perspective?
I think having an established audience has been really important. I think having return customers and having people that come back, you know, and stuff like that is really important, and that's definitely changed. I think creative wise, I feel like I didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do and how I wanted to make it different. Or maybe I knew what I wanted to do, but I didn't know how I wanted to make it different and more and still appealing to people.
From a
So I
product
think now,
perspective, right?
yeah. I think now I have more of a clear vision. It's not perfect, but I have more of a clear vision on brand identity and making pieces that are cohesive with other pieces in our collection and stuff like that. So I think before I would just kind of drop anything that was ready to go, anything that people showed interest, I'd put it all together and I'd just let people go at it. But um, I think, and another small exclusivity to your drops is really important. I think doing time drops and getting people ready for it and doing those countdowns on your IG story and doing shit like that is really important, because it gets people ready, it gets people waiting, you know, for something. When you do a drop, you can really have people there for you that maybe just would miss the notification otherwise. So those are really important too. But yeah, just creative vision and just logistics of things and just I feel like running anytime you run a brand, you get a lot of just like management anxiety for anybody, you know, because you just have so many variables that you have to take on. But as you get more into it, you get more you definitely get more of a feel for it. You're constantly learning, constantly teaching yourself, and you just get more confident as it kind of goes on.
Okay. Wow. And what's well, first of all, let's speak quickly about the kind of like drop model. So how do you structure it now that you have like a more structured process to it? It's still drop based, but you
Yeah.
know the deadlines, you know how to kind of like organize it in advance. So how does it typically look like? How many products do you think about? What are the timelines? What kind of like a checklist do you have to set in place in order to do it properly from a marketing perspective, production? Again, we can address one question at a time, of course, but just can you take us through like your overall approach to launching drops?
Yeah. I'd say 5 to 7 products is really a great way to start. I think I was told quite a few years back by someone who's pretty big in not super big in the industry, but is a good friend of mine and is also in the similar same industry. And he kind of told me that when you have too many products, you have too much to choose from. You know, if someone wants to support your store or support your brand because they want to support your brand, they don't need 30, 40 products to find the perfect little thing out of those to go through. They having something that's more curated and more more offering different price points. Maybe you offer like a couple items that are pretty expensive and you offer something to that's a little bit lower to keep people included, you know, they can still feel part of the brand. But yeah, I think 5 to 7 products. I think 10 is probably about the max I would really do for a drop. I think then, especially if you're doing like especially with like smaller brands, if you're gonna do a pre-order, like you really don't want to have like 10, 15, 20 products pre-order because the logistics of that are just insane. The amount of people you'll have asking you like, where is my shit is never ending, and you'll be constantly waiting on all that stuff to come in versus like a few items with a real robust kind of understanding of what the brand is presenting is much different and much more strong in my opinion. It's like a bold font, you know, like it really just tells you what's going on with the brand. So yeah, 5 to 7 products. I recommend advertising at least a week before. I mean, it should be 2 weeks, but even sometimes I find myself advertising a week before. And at least a week before, you know, the drop notifications on the story and the drop notifications on the posts. I don't recommend doing drop notifications on posts that you'll later want to run ads on because you can't do those together. If you run a timer or a countdown on an Instagram post, you can't run an ad on that post in the future. So sometimes I won't run those timers because I know I'm going to want to run an ad on those photos, and I'm not going to want to post them again. So yeah, I think definitely advertising 1, 2 weeks beforehand, even longer. If you can start advertising a month beforehand, go for it. You know, just start as soon as you can get the word out there that you have new products coming out. I mean, you might as well just go for it. I think having real images of the products on people is really important. So having your samples before you drop is really important. Having those product photos, those flat lays that aren't mock-ups is really important, and having fitting photos of what it looks like on a person is really important before you drop, you know, because otherwise people just we all do it. We all just I wouldn't really go to a website and just buy a hoodie that has no real, unless it's maybe like from a music artist, you know, then it's understandable. Yeah, it's whatever, but I'm just getting it to support them anyway. But if it's like a piece of like clothing, like a garment that I actually want to wear and express myself with, then yeah, I want to see how it looks on a person. So that's really important. And I think, yeah, just the pricing model is kind of important, offering something not too expensive, offering something that's a little bit more high end, and yeah, I think for pre-orders, you really only want to have your pre-orders open for less than a week. I think your pre-orders should be I think your pre-order should be at least how I used to run it. And I think if I had to, I would do it the same way again. I would order double of what I sold. So if I sold 100, I'd order 200. And if it was a pre-order, basically by the time the 200 came in, I had sold out of them, at least. So I definitely recommend like doubling or a little bit more than what you order so that you're not or what you sold so that you're not just like waiting around after that drop for more stuff to sell, and then you can continue selling the stock that you ordered as like an extended pre-order while you're waiting for it, which is pretty nice.
Wow.
So
And how much lead time do you give yourself between each kind of like drop? 3 months?
I think it's actually about 6 to 8 weeks is max.
Wow, really?
Yeah, six
That
to eight
is
weeks.
fast.
Mhm.
Damn. So in 6 weeks, you can get the concept, get the samples, get the orders, do the marketing, do the launch.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Interesting. Okay. And
And that's kind of per product. So if we have like 5 or 6 products, sometimes we have one that's ready and it's not ready for a drop because there isn't other stuff ready to go with it. Or maybe that product is ready to go, but it's just not the right season. You have to be aware of like of these kind of like factors because even if someone will buy a hoodie in the summer, the chances are less likely. So no matter what, the chances are less likely than the winter. So it's just better to just drop stuff like that in the winter. But
Mm,
yeah, so I can get a concept going on a product within 1 week. I can get a sample made within 3 to 4 weeks, and I can get it dropped within a week or two after that normally. So uh,
that's
yeah, I
amazing.
work. I work quick. I work quick.
Yeah, yeah. No, and I come from more like the traditional fashion kind of like space where everything takes, I mean, 4 to 6 months of development.
Wow,
Maybe three if you're like super tight. I mean,
that's
obviously there's
awesome.
like full collections and stuff like that, but it makes you become a very slow thinker. So
Yeah,
it's amazing to see stuff like this going on. Interesting.
yeah,
And
yeah,
you said that unfortunately it's still kind of like in a social media brand positioning, but
yeah.
what's the biggest thing? What's the biggest challenge? What's the biggest bottleneck for you at this point?
Really just getting, I guess the biggest bottleneck at this point is just conveying the quality of our pieces and the fit to our customers without a brick and mortar store. I think that is a huge thing that kind of gets lost in translation is not having your stuff in retail makes it a little bit harder for people to feel the need to purchase. And you can still do crazy drops. Like I don't know shit about that brand Hellstar, but I've heard that that brand Hellstar has done like $1 million and 10-minute drops and stuff like that. Just absolutely astronomical stuff. So if you have the right product, you have the right audience, you can sell it, but um, I think the bottleneck for us is just because we're trying to make stuff that's on the higher end of quality fabrics and materials, and we're not able to convey the fit and the silhouettes and the feeling of the fabric through the internet as well as we'd like to.
Have you increased your prices since then, or it's still kind of like
Yeah,
this?
yeah. We still kind of increased our prices on some more of the higher end stuff. So like when we were making t-shirts, we were making what like we're making maybe 15-20 bucks a t-shirt, so like maybe 50% profit margin. But then when you move into more cut and sew stuff and you move into more stuff like that, the general rule of thumb is to really, even for like maybe not for major brands, because major brands charge like 100 times, Balenciaga charges 100 times markup or whatever, but I feel like 3 times markup for cut and sew products is really where it should be at. Most of the time for me, it's either 3 or 2 times the cost that it costs to make it.
Interesting. But
Yeah.
how is the barrier that you're having with communicating the quality and the fit behind the brand? How is that reflecting into like, well, how is that stopping you from transitioning from, a social media brand to like an actual brand?
I don't know. I think it's
And is
hard.
that even the goal? Because if it isn't, it's fine.
No, I want to be, I don't know if I want this brand to last forever. I feel like this is just a project of mine, and eventually I'll move on to another clothing project in another direction and do something different. But for now, this project is I'd love for it to not really be based on social media. I mean, we have a good following on Instagram. We have about like 88,000 or something like that. And we have about like maybe 30,000 email subscribers, which is good. So if Instagram forever died or ever died, or if we ever lost our Instagram, at least we'd have our subscriber base. A subscriber base is really important too, because social media can't always be there. So a subscriber base and sending out regular emails is super important. I do that. I think that's one other just tip that I'd recommend to anybody is just to use Shopify's integrated email program if you have a Shopify, and just send out your weekly reminders of what stock is looking like, or what pre-orders are looking like, or whatever, and just keep connecting with the audience. But yeah, sorry, to get back to your question. Yeah, I guess just I don't want it to be an Instagram brand. It's just that we've grown so much, and it's thanks to Instagram that it's hard to kind of separate it, a little bit.
Understood. Okay. Interesting. And what would you say is like if you had to do it all over again, what would be the most challenging thing or the biggest piece of advice you'd give yourself? More specific and practical, right? Not as abstract as just like be patient or something, but I don't know. Uh, Something that you particularly struggle with a lot, maybe from a creative development perspective or production or marketing perspective, that you'd be like, you know what, do this instead of doing that.
Yeah, I feel like I tell myself a bunch of shit, but I guess for starters, I'd say, oh, that's a hard one. Uh, I had a problem for a very long time where I made clothing and accessories that I wouldn't wear because I felt like I could sell them easier. And ever, I guess within the last year or two, I've transitioned from that, and I've started making products that I love to wear. I love to show them off, and I love to put them on. I love to tell people about them, and I love to see people in them. So I guess I would tell myself to make what I really want to make, not what I think people want, I would probably tell myself that. I would probably tell myself to go out there and look for suppliers locally or online sooner rather than later, because you know it's it's uh it's easy to sit around and upload your t-shirt files to like a dropshipper website, and just sit at home and do no work. But if you really go out there and you connect with a local screen printing shop like I did, what was really cool about the screen printing shop that I found locally in LA, was they were actually able to take on distribution for us for 2 years. So we weren't even shipping out orders for 2 years because they took it on up until recently, when we just kind of changed gears and started taking it on ourselves. But you never know who you're gonna meet out there, especially like trying to find like a screen printer or like a supplier online. I think like if you can just get your foot in the door with someone good that can um can give you the canvas to write on, or to draw on, then it makes it all that much easier. It makes it like you're not doing it by yourself. There's someone else involved in the process, and I think I'd do that. I think I'd tell myself uh probably, this isn't abstract, but this is just good advice for everyone. Probably just to be more fiscally responsible. Just fiscally responsible in the starting of the brand. Because when you start getting money in from a creative project, you start thinking like, This is crazy. I did work, but I didn't work for a company for 9 hours. I did my own shit and I made money off of it. So it's easy to think of that money as side money, like it's like you earned it on the side, but realistically you should be investing almost all of that back into the business, whether it's marketing, whether it's more samples, whether it's more inventory, whether it's a new URL or a new domain or new Shopify theme or whatever you want. Like it should constantly be going into developing the brand's logistics and identity for sure.